Hi there. Today I am joined by Reggie George, who is Executive Director at Three Fires Group and President of Aki Battery Recycling. Thank you so much, Reggie, for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely, Heather. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Can you tell me a little bit about Aki and how the partnership with Aki and Electra was started?
Yeah, so it happened many, many years ago. When we first formed Three Fires Group, we were looking at, where do we think the industry is heading in southwestern Ontario and in Canada in general. And that led us down the path of, electrification. And part of that is obviously the EV supply chain. Now, big thing with EVs is critical minerals. We're in southwestern Ontario. That's our traditional treaty territory. There's not a lot of critical minerals down here. We got a little bit of salt. That's basically about it. So when we went to look at, how can we be involved in the EV supply chain and in the critical mineral supply chain, it kind of left us with, well, we sell a lot of cars down here. Most of the cars are driven down here, and most of them wind up in landfills down here. So maybe that's the solution to our problem. So we reached out to Michael and Trent at Electra, and one thing led to another, and we wound up forming Aki Battery Recycling.
Here we are. So, why is battery recycling an area of focus that has sort of interested Three Fires Group? What makes that something of interest?
Well, as I mentioned, it's an emerging market. We distinguished it fairly early on as a big market that was coming to North America and the world in general, and we wanted to get ahead of it. And the First Nations are always historically known as stewards of the land, right? That's kind of the model and the image of First Nations. So for us, it makes a lot of sense to be able to stop vehicles from entering landfills and to be able to create a circular economy where we can make sure that these critical minerals, whether they're mined from our region or not, remain within the supply stream. And that led to this partnership.
Makes a lot of sense for sure. And why do you feel that it's important for Three Fires to have a leadership role in this space rather than maybe passive investment, for example?
Well, again, it comes back to being, a First Nation led business at the end of the day. We feel that we have certain responsibilities to the environment and to Mother Earth, if you will. And that, ultimately, we haven't had a driver's seat in a lot of decisions when it comes to anything historically. And now First Nations are in a position where we can offer various advantages to companies, and we can use those advantages to pursue things that are integral to our identity, such as protecting the environment. And that's why this really kind of fit into our overall, I guess, game plan with Three Fires Group.
See what you mean? A lot of mutual benefits on both sides.
Definitely.
And so, how do you feel this project represents Indigenous participation here in Canada and in our clean energy future?
Well, I think it's a unique one in that First Nations are really taking the lead on this project, and in other regions it's more industry led, I suppose. So we've really been trying to push things forward on the recycling front and trying to make this a true initiative that can be led by not only us but really all First Nations at the end of the day. And most of the time it's more industry led, but in this case it's very much become a nation led initiative, I suppose.
That's pretty exciting stuff for sure. So, what does Aki need to move this project forward? What are the next steps?
Well, we need a couple things realistically. I mean, Aki is we're still in the, I guess, feasibility stage of things. We need to secure some land down here in southwestern Ontario for the initial processing facilities. We need to obviously secure some off-taker contracts with end-of-life battery producers or even EV manufacturers. From the data that we've seen, there's a decent amount of off-spec scrap that comes out of these gigafactories that are being set up here in southwestern Ontario when they're first produced. So getting some off-take agreements with them, and then having some kind of a circular tolling model or some other form of model that we can use, as well as just general scrap producers, scrap yards, that kind of thing.
And so to get this moving forward, what are the next financial plans for the business? How are we seeing the funding future? And is Aki ready to go, or are we still working through those early initial steps for the partnership and also business plan?
So we're working through the initial steps. I think that the business plan is pretty much ready to go. It's a matter of us getting funding from our government partners at this stage of the game, which is always it's always a waiting game at the end of the day. But I think that we're in a good position at the moment with everything that's happening geopolitically. I think that we offer a good low-hanging win for Canada and Ontario and First Nations in general, the whole industry really, that we can pursue and make this really a countrywide initiative.
It's exciting. There's absolutely so many synergies right now in Canada when it comes to critical minerals importance. We're seeing a lot of signals from government as well as policy and industry that Canada as a whole and North America is really looking to advance our critical minerals ability. And this sounds like such a unique and exciting opportunity to get involved in that whole supply chain, and also the circularity and the importance of recycling all of these materials that we're bringing into the supply chain. So I, for one, am very excited to see what comes for Aki over the next little while. And I do think we'll stay in touch and we'll have some more of these chats as we go along the way. So Reggie, I do want to thank you for your time today. And I look forward to hearing what comes next.
Hey, likewise, Heather, my door is always open. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call.
Thank you, Reggie.
Take care, guys.